The one thing that I always tell people to stay away from is setups. I am against them. I hate them. I'm never gonna like them. Nobody's gonna convince me otherwise. I don't program setups. I don't allow setups in my gym. There's so many different variations we'll get into later that are acceptable for core strength training if you want to target the core, that are way better than a setup. This tracks back all the way to the military. Army physical fitness test. You have 2 minutes to do as many push-ups as you can do, 2 minutes to do as many setups as you can do, and then a 2-mile run. Somebody holds your feet. You can place your hands behind the back of your head and pull. So basically, when you're doing this movement, a sit-up, you're actually pulling with your quads and your hip flexors and your hands. The number one thing that happens with most people is they get that friction on that tailbone and then they get a bruised or even a matburn on their tailbone. That's from just moving too fast, popping the hips up, slamming them down. On top of that, when we're pulling on the back of our neck and pulling with our legs, we have a curved spine. It promotes bad posture and risk of injury, which we're all trying to prevent so we can stay in here and keep training, right? As of October 1st, 2020, the Army is removing setups from their physical standard test. The old test, I guess they figured out, like it doesn't really matter how many setups somebody can do because it really doesn't transfer over to performance. They're much more acceptable exercises if you're going to specifically target the core. I personally am a fan of capacity conditioning that incorporates my core for training. For example, we did a video on the cradle carry, the sandbag carries for some people, versus just endless amounts of setups. Now, don't get me wrong, there's people out there, you're gonna have weak cores and that capacity conditioning don't work for you, so you need an isolated exercise to target that core in a complete training environment and program, not just, hey, let's do abs 6 days a week. It's not gonna happen that way. So what can you do for a setup? Now, one of my favorite variations of a setup, and this one I do allow in the gym still, and I even program this one as well, is setups with a plate. This forces individuals to slow down the exercise. It forces them to maintain a neutral spine the entire time. You can now not pull with the hip flexors, you can't pull with the quadriceps, you're having to pull with the absolute core. Stay away from setups. There's other variations. If you need help with programming, reach out to me, reach out to your coach, be like, can we do anything other than setups? Just because they're easy don't mean that's the way to go, guys.